Hello everybody. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Um, no. Hello. Okay, now you guys can hear me properly. See. Yeah, as I was saying, RIP to all the lives that were lost during today's um, unfortunate crash. And if you can, do donate to those families who need help. And if you can, do donate to those. Sorry. Yeah, as I was saying, do donate if you can. If not, just praying also goes a long way. Hopefully, everybody stays safe. Hopefully, we don't see those type of accidents in future. And yeah, just pray to. And I hope the families stay safe and everybody's safe. Yeah. With that being said, sorry, I had to throw it out because that has been going throughout the whole day in my brain. That was the only thing that's running. So again, RIP to all the lives lost. Hopefully, people are able to, the families get enough donations and there's prayers and get enough strength to go through this hard time. With that being said, let's go towards our hacking journey, probably my drug of my life, I guess, to help cope up with these hard times. And I was saying, sorry, my brain is going to be up and down all day today because that's the only thing I'm thinking. Because I do go to India every year, even though air is considered one of the safest one, but still, like these type of accidents are very hard. But yeah, as I was saying, we are going to continue our how the web works path. Today, I don't have much time. I have 1 hour because I have certain meetings. So we'll cover important stuff, and at least we will be in a position to start with our Linux journey from tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a longer stream, probably 3 hours or 4 hours. So you learn complete a whole Linux journey, and you guys can hear me, right? Hello. Can you hear me? You guys can hear me, right? Yeah, okay. I just have to turn on the captions. Okay, captions are turned on. I don't know why it's not working. Interesting. If you guys can see it, captions for screen, select font and everything. Regular, blah blah blah. Hello. All the captions are gone for some reason. I don't know why. What happened? Let's see quickly. Open captions, journal, audio caption source from stream. Yeah, stream only. Yeah. Safe, and I don't know, they were just here. They were working just fine 2 seconds ago. It's interesting. Maybe can I do a refresh? I'm sorry, lads. I don't know what happened. Just caption were working like 2 minutes ago. Now they are not. Hello. Extension. Chat is there. Can you chat something in through Twitch or something? I want to see if the chat is working. Probably not the day. Today is not the day. Nope. Yeah, it's here. Text form, source, select font, text, blah blah blah. Yeah, it should be here. Hello, hello, hello. Normal, transcript, open captions, saved recording, yeah. Captions. Hello, hello. Okay, now they are working. Sweet. Okay, we are back. Sorry, I don't know what happened with the captions. But yeah, as I was saying, hacking is the only drug I do to go through the hard times. And with that being said, let's cover our HTTP in detail for sure today, where we will be covering the important stuff and why this is important and why I keep forcing about this specific task more than the previous one with the network one is because when you get any type of CTF, right? For example, Pickle Rick, OWASP Juicebox, the good ones, right? The good ones. First thing you do, or even with any bug bounty journey, first thing you do is look at the website and see what are all the subdomains, what are all the things going around, right? All those nitty gritty details. Most important thing when you run these type of GoBuster, Dirbuster, Derby, what they give you in output is the HTTP status code. And let's see what this is. So HTTP status code, right? In the previous task, you learned that when a HTTP server responds, the first line always contains a status informing the client of the outcome of their request and also potentially how to handle it. These status codes can be broken down into 5 different ranges. So it basically goes from 100 to 599, right? So let's talk about this. 100 to 199 information response. These are sent to tell the client the first part of the request has been accepted and they should continue sending the rest of the request. These codes are no longer very common. I personally have not seen a single one between 100 and 199. Second is 200 and 299. That one is the success one, right? Which we saw 200 OK status code all the time. This range of status code is usually to tell the client, basically our browser, their request was successful. For example, if I just go on this, right, and I go on the source one here for Perplexity, you see all the status code here, all are 200. 101, that's actually just for switching protocols, but 200, majority of them are 200. Some are 300 and 304, which we'll see what they mean. But majority of them are 200, and if you see 200, that means your request you made to the client was successful. Next is 300 to 399. This is the redirection one. What is redirection? Let's say when Facebook, right, changed its name to Meta. It was fb.com, let's say, and they want all the people to go to meta.com. But a lot of people were still going to facebook.com. So using this HTTP status code, we tell the browser that, hey, if you're trying to hit the server, let's say there is a server here like this, here server will tell the browser trying to hit fb.com, hey, go to meta.com, redirect. And that's how those things actually go from, even if you type fb.com, it will automatically go to meta.com. That's redirection. And here, these are used to redirect client's request to another resource. So when you're going on fb.com, goes to meta.com. This can be either to do with a different web page or different website altogether. So if you are, let's say, even on fb.com, there is profile. Earlier the page was this. Now they might have redirected it to, let's say, fb.com personal, something like that, right? It can be for a specific page, it can be for a whole website. Next, we have 400 to 499. This is also a very common one you have seen, because you might have heard about the 404 error, right? Which is not found. So when you're trying to access a resource, trying to access a web page or a website, and that's not found, you get 404. used to inform the client that there was an error with their request. Our request was wrong. Our side, right, was wrong, because the whole architecture is a very simple architecture. Is this one is server and you are blue. Let's say go here and here you are red. So blue, let's say, is this is our red is the server and blue is our browser, right? When you're making a request, you're asking, hey, do you have this resource, this web page or something, and server responds back with a response. Now when you're making this request, right, you could be asking like for a page that does not exist, or there's some issue with your request with, let's say, wrong password or something, and that's when you get this between a range of 400 to 499. But let's say your request was good, but the server, for example, let's say you asked for a 0x0, a very valid question to ask, right, to AI. But now server responds with, like, server tried to actually compute it and it gave an error on this side. So what will it give? It gives a 500 range error because an error happened on the server side. So remember, 200 everything went well and it's called green all the time. 200 okay. 300 once, when 300 399 are redirection. Basically things have changed, everything is good, just we are redirecting you to a new house or something. Next one is the hard one, because that one is when your request is wrong, which is in the 400 range, and 500 range is also a hard one, but those are hard for developers because that's a server error. Remember these, because once you start going with the GoBuster, that's all you will see, right? And as it says right here is the issue from the client side, this is an issue on the server side, and this is a major problem because server should not be giving error. Now, common HTTP status codes. There are a lot of different HTTP status code, because basically they are from 200 to 599, right? And that's not including the fact that application can even define their own, so they can have 700 error. We'll go over the most common HTTP responses as we are likely to come, because just like ports, there are certain ones that are reserved and you will see more as a standard around the whole world. First one is 200 OK, which we see all the time, as I showed you. This is 200 OK. For example, let's say I went to this one, clicked here, 200 OK. Then is 201 created. A resource has been created, basically a new blog, a new user on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere, right? And this created one again is used with post, right? So you created a new post. 301 permanently moved. So basically you went to, let's say, fb.com, but it changed to Meta, so it has been permanently moved to a new place, and they will tell you where it has been moved a lot of times. 302 found, similar to the above permanent redirect, but as the name suggests, this is only a temporary change and may change again in the future. So sometimes, let's say you are changing the houses, right? You tell your friends, hey, don't come to this house, keep changing, you keep changing. Same with the website. Let's say you are starting a startup, you are not able to come up with a proper name. You start with one, go to another, which one gets more traffic. Next, 400 bad request. This is basically when you try to make a request to the server, but it was a really like 0 divided by 0, right? It's a very bad request. So this tells the browser that something was either wrong or missing in the request, like your username password was missing in the request. This could sometimes be used if the web server resource is being requested, expected a certain parameter that the client didn't send. So for example, changing of the DP or getting a DP, right? You need your username and credentials. Next is 401 not authorized. Basically, let's say if I want to access like a government of India or government of Canada or US stuff, I'm not allowed to, right? And if I try to go to that resource directly, I won't be allowed and I will get 401 not authorized. You are currently allowed to view this resource. You are not currently allowed to view this resource until you have authorized with the web application, most commonly with a username and password. 403 forbidden. You do not have the permission to view this whether you are logged in or not. So basically, let's say if I'm logged in on Facebook, I might not be authorized. If I'm not logged into Facebook or something, I'm not authorized to change the display picture of my profile. But when I'm logged in, even I cannot change my friend's display picture or profile picture. I can only change my own profile picture. Next, 405, method not allowed. This resource does not allow this method. For example, we read about get, put, post, delete, right? Main ones. So if you're trying to, let's say, access something, do a resource, let's say make a post request, creating a post, right? In that case, you will be sending the post request. But instead you set a get request or something like delete request while you want to post something on Twitter or Facebook, then you will get this error that, hey, this is not allowed. This is not right. 404 commonly seen. You're trying to access a page that does not exist. Internal server error, another big one you will see as a bug bounty hunter, as a hacker or a pen tester, because these errors, when you encounter them, right, this means like the server was not able to handle things properly. So for example, again, I sent, let's say, a very interesting hack will be a SQL injection, right? SQL injection, where I sent a request with certain like this, or 1 equals 1. Let's say this was my request. Now the server wasn't able to handle this. This is a parenthesis. So let's say server was not able to handle this. Then they will give me internal server error. Last but not the least, 503, service unavailable. This server cannot handle your request. It's either overloaded or down for maintenance. So when, let's say government websites go down for like over the weekend because they are doing maintenance stuff, they are upgrading the software, or any website, that's when this happens. And interestingly, a lot of big companies, what they do, how their system works in an architecture perspective, they have servers everywhere around the world, right? Let's say in one particular area, they have 3 servers, 3 zones, A, B and C. So A, B and C, they will tell you in start that, hey, during this time to this time, like fortnight, right? They tell you like, okay, for 4 hours, this won't, the server won't be available. You are not allowed to play. But for example, with Google, you don't see these things. Facebook, you don't see these things. Why? Because when they change, they upgrade first their A server zone, availability zone. Then once A is done, they start doing the B one, because then A and C can still hold requests, right? While B is getting upgraded. Once A and B are good, then the C will start and A and B will handle all the traffic. That's how big architecture companies who do not even a single second of down time can bring billions of dollars worth of loss. They want to do this. And if you are a visual learner, also check out great HTTP cat resource to study the status codes. Now click on the website button on the right to see some of the HTTP status messages look like in a browser. Okay, so let's do that and let's see what is HTTP status code. Ooh, this is a good one. Let's see. We have 200 OK. Where is 200 OK? 200 OK. That's your one for today. Let's see. A good one. Moved permanently. Oh, I would love to put that on my website. And 303. See other. And I think 302 is not found, or found, but like unavailable. And let's see 404. Can't found it. So interesting website. I like it. I'll just send it here for you guys to check it out too. See, okay. So now let's look at the HTTP status codes and see what this has for us. So HTTP status codes, let's see what they want us to do in this. What response code you might receive if you have created a new user or a blog or article. So when you create a new user, the answer should be 201. So that's like a new one, right? You created a new one. Next, what response code might you receive if you have tried to access a page that does not exist? So 404 not found, right? So 404 not found, right? Something like this. 503, this is the internal server error, or basically error from the server side. What response code might you receive if the web server cannot access its database and the application crashes? So if the application, the server goes down, it's 500. No? Or maybe then 503. Yeah, okay. Okay, so 500 would be when an error happens on application side, but if it crashes, it's unavailable. Okay. What response code might you receive if you try to edit your profile without logging in? This is a good one, right? It's again, this one is a browser issue one, right? So this one, and there is 300. So remember this. I would love to hear the answer because I want to make sure I'm also getting it. You are also getting it. Now I will move up. So it's not a server. It's issue from our side, right? So it should be in the 400 range. What should be the answer? 401 or 403? One of those two. Okay, sweet. Because it's an issue with the client side, right? We are not provided the username and password. Sweet. So let's look at headers. Headers, I don't know if a lot of people, when I talk about this, have not heard about it. But there is called a header injection. Header injection. This is also a way to attack. It's not so common, but that's the beauty about it. Because it's not common, a lot of people don't know about this. A lot of people won't try it. And this is your time to shine in case of bug bounties or real world applications. So you should try it all the time. Let's see what headers are first, right? Headers in the HTML or HTTP are additional bits of data you can send to the web server when making a request or making requests. Let me make sure you guys can hear me good, right? You want me to increase the volume? Although no headers are strictly required when making a HTTP request, you'll find it was that installing was I will make it bigger. Sorry, I forgot. Scarface. Yo, love the name. Love the name. One of the top favorite movies of all time. So, installing this may take a few minutes. WSL register distribution failed with error. This requires an update its kernel component. For information, please visit HTTP. That's interesting. WSL register distribution failed. Let's see quickly. So basically WSL update the new version. So if you go in the command prompt, you can update your WSL version. And there is not anything by the owner or the question person who asked himself, but so WSL -- update, buddy. That's what you can do to update your system, right? And then install it, which basically makes sense because it's saying right in the system requires WSL2 requires an update on the kernel component. I don't know if you know kernel much, but what kernel is, I use WSL2 sometimes. But what kernel? Maybe help us see this to understand what's going on, and that will make more sense, right? So we have your Windows, and on the Windows, right, on top of it, there runs a software, hyperversion or something else, whichever. Because of this, you are able to put things like kernel. Kernel is the actual Linux. This is the actual thing that talks to the hardware, helps getting the resources. So what you are doing, you're trying to install Ubuntu on top of it, but you need to update this part. Hopefully that makes sense what we are trying to do. It's good to like ask questions and understand what's going on, right? So hopefully that helps. Let me know, and if doesn't, you can join the Discord, and I can probably help you there as well. We got a lot of smart people in my Discord channel. Yeah, thanks for the question. I like it. I like these questions. So with that being said, let's look into the no headers, right? Although no headers are strictly required, no headers are strictly required when making a HTTP request, you'll find it difficult to view a website properly. Common request headers. There are headers that are sent from client, usually from your browser, right? And I can show you a good example here. Let's say if I went here, right? If I have here, I go on my Google, right, and Chrome, and I see, I'll go with the fetch ones. Let's say I made this. Do you see the response headers and the request headers at the bottom, right? That's how things work. Let me remove the caption so you can see actually. You see the request headers? You are telling, okay, which Chrome you are using, which version of Chrome you are using, user agents, what is my platform, I'm using Windows, this, and then there is request by the server, response by the server, again information like this. So this is the thing we are talking about here. This is extra information. Some web servers host multiple websites, so by providing the host headers, you can tell it which one you require. Otherwise, you will receive default website from the server. So let's say, for example, right, we have Google. What this means is, let's say there is a big gigantic server, right, by Google. Google have their own, let's say, search one as default. Then they have Maps. They have their Gmail. And they have, let's say, Gemini, their AI. With the headers you are sending, you can the server will know where you want to go out of this, or this. If not, let's say if this is the default one, you'll get that. Usually a lot of people don't do the one server thing because of the cloud, but there are people like, for example, like me, who will make a Raspberry Pi and want to host a bunch of things on it just for fun. User agent, right? And you can see these requests here as well. User agent, you see here, make it bigger. No, okay. You can probably see at the very bottom here, user agents, right? If not, let me make it even bigger. So you see user agent in the header. This is telling which type of browser you are using. What's your user's agent, user's browser. This is your browser software and the version number. Telling the web server your browser software helps it format the website properly for your browser, and also some elements of HTML, JavaScript and CSS are only available in certain browsers. You can check this on W3 Schools website to see what certain features are available on certain browsers and certain not. Content length. When sending data to a web server, such as in a form, the content length tells the web server how much data to expect in the web request. This way, the server can ensure it isn't missing any data. So how much? What is the total length of all the characters? Right, I sent you. Accept encoding tells the web server what type of compression method the browser supports, so the data can be made into smaller chunks for transmission over the internet. Because let's say if you have a cake, it's divided into small pieces, like the image we saw of the cat, small pieces sent to your browser, and it's combined there. That's how it works on the internet, and with the help of these headers, it's easy to do those maths, how big it should be and blah blah blah. Let's see if we have age is not the one we are looking for. Cache control, content length, you see 81,000, right? And this is of the code in the back, total code. Accept encoding, right? We have all the information we need here. Cookie, data sent to the server to help remember your information. Though this is what there is a attack called cookie injection, where if I steal someone's cookie, I can tell, okay, I can impersonate as that person. When you get those phishing attacks, phishing emails, a lot of time this is what's going on. So if I hack your cookie, I get your cookie, I can use your Amazon account for a particular some amount of time. It's called cookie injection. I cannot show you my cookies because you might be able to find and do interesting things, but cookie injection, that's the thing. Cookie poisoning is different, but cookie injection, right? That's if somebody get your cookie, they have your Amazon account or whichever account you were logged in, or whichever cookie they got. Common response headers. These are the headers that are returned to the client from server after a request. So I made a request to Google. Let me make it to Stack Overflow rather, because I'm not logged in there. So you see here in the network, I make a request. I get a response back, right? And I see there is no cookie, basically probably because I haven't logged in. Yeah, there is nothing for cookie. Let's see if I can find some cookies. So if you want to see cookie, when you go on your Google, go to application, here are the cookies. I'm too scared to type this, but yeah. So for example, Google and Stack Overflow, certain information will be there, and certain ones are very generic, basically based on your request, even if you're not logged in. Certain ones are about when you logged in. Those cookies are the one you need to protect. Remember the cookie jar. Set cookie, information to store which gets sent back to the web server on each request. So just like if you want to make any changes to your Facebook profile or Amazon, whenever you, let's say, add to cart or buy, all that, this cookie will be sent to the web server to tell, okay, this person is allowed or not allowed to do this. Cache control, how long to store the content of the response in the browser's cache before it request again. So for example, you went to facebook.com, you are writing, right? Like a lot of people are writing something on their chatbot. This type of information, cache control, this type of information is stored, and a couple of more information. These things are stored and will be stored for a certain amount of time by the web browser. You don't have control over it, but after a certain time, you have to refresh your page. Next, content type. This is a good one because this is you will use, and I can show you something interesting here. Network tab. Content type, text plain. Let's say if I go on login form, content type, application JSON, not text plain, application JSON. Let's go for another one. Let's see what this one has. Again, application JSON. But if I see a server, if I see a 200 no content, content type text plain, right? Depending on what all content there should be when you send. If I type something, right? Let's say if I type hello world or something on this, there is also a type of content which is called application form, which is for these forms. So it tells which type of content is going back and forth. When you are in Burp Suite, this is what you look for, like a form one, so you can brute force certain websites and attack them, which we will see again, right, with time coming. Content encoding. What method has been used to compress the data to make it smaller while sending it? So which type of, for example, zip, what type of zip you use to compress your data? Similar thing when packets are being sent over the internet, right? If there is like a whole image you are sending of a cat, let's say, I'll type it better, CAT, right? So let's say C is divided, A is divided, T is divided. Now all these are sent individually and they're compressed in a smaller chunk. So which algorithm you used? So server can do that. Okay, now let's look into this. What header tells the web server what browser is being used? I will read these questions. I would really appreciate, type your answers so I can tell if you are understanding or not what is going good and not, right? So first question is, what header tells the web server what browser is what browser you are using? Next, what header tells the browser what type of data it is? What header tells the web server which website is being requested? Okay, so let's start from the first one. First one is what browser. This is your user agent. You're probably listening to AI agent. This is user agent, different thing. But those both are important. This, what type of data? This is content, because content type. Just like application form JSON, application JSON, application form, application JSON, text plain, all those things. Images too. And multimedia for images and videos. What header tells the web server which website is being requested? This one you have to tell, lads. This one you have to tell. I'll take you here. You tell me. I'll go over slowly. Let's see if you see here. Any idea? There are multiple answers to this. You probably saw. If not, right, let's go over a bit. It should be in the first one, host. Right? Who is hosting this request I'm asking for? Which server? Now let's look at cookies. More than important, I can tell. If let's say you want to hack your friend's computer and just friend's system, Facebook, Instagram, very easy ways. Ask them, hey, can I borrow your computer? Let's say they're like, okay, fine. Then you can legit take their cookie, put it in your computer, and use that as like them for their Facebook or Instagram, just for fun, ethical fun pranks. Don't do it for anything bad. Okay, so let's see. Cookies. You have probably heard of cookies before. They are just small pieces of data that is stored on your computer, which you can see if you go on your application, right? Go on Google Inspect. You will see this page. Go on application, cookies, and you can tell whichever website you are on. You will be able to see. Okay, here. Cookies are saved when you receive a set cookie header from the web server. Then even every further request you make, you will send the cookie data back to the server. So it is being done by your browser, you don't even know. Because HTTP is stateless, doesn't keep track of your previous state. Stateless is basically, let's say if you are in a vending machine, right? A simple example is a vending machine. What are the steps? You put in the cash, you type what you want, and you get it, right? Get your beverage or whatever. In this, after your step 1, machine is keeping track of which step is done, then it goes to the 2-1, then it goes to the 3-1, right? takes care of first, 2 and 3. A stateless like HTML and HTTP, these type of ones, they don't care about it. For them, either you make all in one cache type and everything in one request, or it will restart. So that's what stateless is. It doesn't keep track of the previous things you did. Cookies can be used to remind the web server who you are, some personal settings for the website, or whether you have been to the website before. So for example, when you go to, let's say, Instagram, right? Because you have already logged in before, let's say yesterday, the cookie still stays in your browser, right? And that's why when you open it again, you are able to see your Instagram page, the home page, without logging in because of this. But when you do, let's say, history, you go to your history and you say, I want to delete my history, right? Here it says cookies and other site data. Do you want to sign in? You have sign in you to the most of the website. This is the thing. This is how it works, because that extra piece of information is already there in your system here, and then you can use that to log in without even typing anything. So some personal settings for the websites, or further you have been, or whether you have been to the website before. Let's take a look at this as an example HTTP request. So we made, let me make it actually. Oh, I closed the wrong one. I'll make it a better image for you. The client requests the web page from cookies.thm, right? This is the website name. So the request will look like this: get HTTP1 and the root of that, then the host and the user agent, let's say Chrome. Then the server responds back with the web sample page, with the HTML page, with the page you see, with the form asking for the username and password. So I go and server says, okay, I am using, just like you are using browser user agent, server is using a server software. Here it is Nginx 1.153, right? Then there is date, at what time the request was filled, content type, and HTML data, whatever is the data. The client sends back the form with the name set to the Adam, right? Again, post request, blah, 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 right? Form, this is the form way. X www form URL encoded, that's how the forms are sent. With the name equals Adam. And this is what you will see when you are like actually hacking using Burp Suite. So on the request and further request, on the next and further request, the client needs to send the cookie data back to the server. So every time they are logging in, they are sending what name they have, right? And then server is like, okay, Adam. Server then sees the cookie data, and instead of displaying the form again and again, it says, hey Adam, welcome. Just like, hey Sincere Hacker, welcome to your dashboard on Twitch or YouTube. So that's basically a general idea of cookies. Cookies can be used for many purposes, but are most commonly used for the website authentication, to know who you are, to tell, yes, I am this person. The cookie value won't usually be clear text string, whether you can see where you can see the password, but a token, unique secret that isn't easily humanly guessable. You don't need to know about this right now. Viewing your cookies. You can easily view what cookies your browser is sending to a website by using developer tools in your browser. When you go to inspect, this is basically opening the developer tools. Go to the developer tools in your browser, click on view site button on the top of this task for a how-to guide. Once you have developer tools open, click on the network tab like we do. The tab will show you the list of all the requests for your browser your browser has requested. You can click on each one of them to see a breakdown, right? So basically what we are doing here, when we go to the network tab, we see all this information. And we are seeing, okay, there is no cookie set properly because we haven't done the authentication, right? But if you have authentication done using your YouTube and Twitch, that's where you can see it. Okay, let's see. Next thing is here. So let's look at this website code we have to look into. So for Firefox, we have this. This is basically telling them about developer tools. Same with Chrome, Safari, Edge. Who cares about Internet Explorer? That's done, boss. Okay. Which header is used to save cookies on your computer? Probably very easy, right? Set cookie. Important one. So if you go check your URLs, right, what's going on, you will see a set cookie in the headers. Okay. Now the last and amazing one where we put all these things together, the methods, the codes, cookies, headers, all this information. Click on the view site button. This is an emulator of making a demo HTTP request. Using what you have learned from the above task, you can use it to complete below questions. So make a get request to /room page. So let's see. Remember, most of the times you have seen here, just like in the image we saw, right? Where it is. Image we saw, get the root server, right? The home directory. Again, here also home. In this case, we need room. Would you like a guided tour to help learn about how to get started? Should we? Skip it. Listen, we are not losers. So if you want, here we have the get request, the URL. So if you see, basically TryHackMe gets removed and that first thing gets here because TryHackMe goes down. We want room, so we'll type room here at the end. You can see get room, request is made. So let's say go. What is it? HTTP1 response from the server is using Nginx, right? And we get welcome to the room, THM you are in the room. And the browser says welcome THM you are in the room. Hopefully you are getting it. You are able to mimic it in future, right? Once you do this on your own. Next, make a get request to /blog page. Do you want to do it like, okay, I'll read the questions. You tell me what changes I have to make and I will read the questions first, right? Let's see if you are able to catch up. So make a get request to /blog page and set the ID parameter to 1. Use the gear button on the right to manage URI patterns. So here, ID parameter 1, and you have to go to the blog page. You tell me what to do. Then make an, here important thing is, right, URI parameters. Parameters goes like this. Something like this. So you can tell what to do next. Next, make a delete request to user1, right? Put request to user2 with username parameter set to admin. Post request to login page, username THM, password let me in. So now you guys try to answer all these and I'm going to start my stuff too. So get request to /blog. So I'll go here first, blog. Then I want to set the parameters. So with the gear button, I will say ID and 1, save, right? And this, if you see, I'll show you this interesting thing. This extra information is sent here in the request in the background, I believe. We don't see it. I assumed we will see it, but okay. So we get a request back, which is the viewing blog article 1. THM, you have found the blog. But a lot of time query is basically also like sending here ID equals 1. That's query string. Equals 1. Probably won't work in this case because this is by THM. Make a delete request to user1. Just like a blog or a room, we have user/1 and delete request. That's all you have to do. So you see the timings changed. We have The user has been deleted. THM user is deleted. Now a put request to user2 with the username and admin sent in the parameters. So I changed this to, or I'll just clean this, username admin, and I make it to user2. So I just changed the last one. Put request, put is to change, so I'm going to change the username here. We see missing parameter. Okay, username parameter set to admin. Okay, why? Bad request, blah blah blah. Okay, put request to user2, request to user2 page with the username as admin. Body parameters. Oh, probably I have to do save and then proceed. Yeah, okay, so I have to save that information. So user was updated. Now the last and the great one, post, login, username and password. So this is how you actually do a brute force attack. Once you go to, let's say, the web page, login, there is a form, right? And then in the form you are sending information like, first delete this, username THM, next will be password, let me in. Save this, proceed, and we get the user was updated. Maybe no, I have to do go. Yeah, now it should be. Cannot find page. Okay, post request, username THM, password let me in. Okay, oh, post request, sorry, should be good now. You logged in, welcome back to THM, HTTP request master. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I like it room. I like this room. I like this room. Okay, let's close this guy. This takes always this takes time, the last one. But as you can see, this was the answer. THM HTTP master. Now let's look at the next one in our game. I have to check the time. I have 15 minutes, so let's see how much we can cover today. But if not, tomorrow I have no constraints from work, so we will be going blast tomorrow. We'll be completing whole Linux part 1. How websites work, architecture, HTML, JavaScript, sensitive data exposure. Okay, so let's look at how websites work first, and then we'll see with the timing. So first thing is how the websites work. To exploit a website, first you need to know how they are created. Basically, if you want to dismantle a car, you need to know what tires are, what to do with which place. So if you want to fix it or even create troubles. By the end of this room, you will know how websites are created and will be introduced to some basic security issues. When you visit a website, your browser like Safari or Google Chrome makes a request to a web server asking for information about the page you are visiting. It will respond with data that your browser uses to show you the page. A web server is just a dedicated computer somewhere else in the world that handles your request. Basically, you want food, right? You have a request, you want food. A very simple answer how things work in this world. A very simple answer I'll give you. You are in your home, right? You want to eat something. What do? Right? And the restaurant is somewhere, let's say the restaurant is somewhere else in the world, right? Mr. Beast video, somewhere else in the world, there is a restaurant. You are super rich, you want to make a request. What do you do? Any idea what you do? If you want food from a restaurant, what is the simple thing you do? Any guesses? I don't know if you guys do it or not, but I do a lot. You basically, if you are hungry, you want to eat something, you open your phone and look for skip, right? Skip the dishes, you look for Uber Eats or some type of a food ordering app, right? And you make a request to the restaurant that, hey, I want naan. I want some naan bread. I can't say naan bread, man. It has to be naan because naan itself is bread. I'm not that white or that Canadian. But yeah, you want naan, right? Or you want samosa or you want chai. You make a request to a restaurant and restaurant sends it back. This is the same idea with your browser and your server. You want to access facebook.com or Instagram or any site or YouTube, right? For example, right now you're doing. What do? You send a request in the world that, hey, I want to go to this page. I want to, whatever I want to do, right? I want to watch a video. What happens next? Internet finds where it should go. It should go to a server. Let's say Facebook server, right? It looks at your information, blah, 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 and sends a response back. Whether the password is correct, good, not, whatever. So that's basically how things work. When you visit a website, your browser makes a request to the web server asking for information about the page, like your home page you are visiting. It will respond with data that your browser uses to show you the page. A web server is just a dedicated computer somewhere else in the world that handles your request. Your request from browser, internet sends the request to the browser, request from the browser over the internet to the server. Server sends it back over the internet, right? There are two major components that make up your website. Front end, I'm a front end developer for some very big names, mega cap, right? So front end, client side, the way your browser renders a website. Next is the back end, a server that handles your request and returns a response. There are many other processes involved in your browser making a request to a web server, but for now you just need to understand that you make a request to a server and it responds with the data to your browser using the render information. So basically you make a request and the server responds. The term best describes for the component of a web application rendered by your browser. So this is the front end, right? And that's why you hear front end developer like me. We work on these types of website, not on the back end server. Now let's look at the HTML quickly. Websites are primarily created using HTML to build website, define their structure, CSS to make it look pretty, right, style, and JavaScript to implement complex features, behavior. Best way to explain. Now, this is the best way I think I can explain you how the thing works. What is what? Let's see, a good picture, a beautiful picture. Which one could it be? Da-da-da-da-da. Not a human one. I think that's way too much for you guys. Okay, I'll use this one only. Hopefully you understand with this, right? So we have this image. HTML defines the structure. It is basically the wood, the brick, the panels in your house. This is the basic structure, right? This is your wall, a basic wall without any color, just cement, right? Or your wood, whatever it's called, stud, right? Those things. Then let's say you want to make your house pretty. What do? You color your house. Simple. You color your house, make it look pretty, right? By different colors, on different places, right? Whether it's the door, and you make a door even little bit. The door is there, also part of CSS, you can say. Then JavaScript is the most interesting part. This is the big bread and butter, because JavaScript is the one that says, okay, the functions, the behavior of the house, or best way to explain, the features of the house, the benefit, the things of the house that are actually you can interact with. For example, lights, flowing water, right? Washroom, the behavior type of things, the things you will use. There is a stove inside the house. There's a chimney, as we can see, right? Those behavior type things are JavaScript. CSS to look pretty. Website HTML is like, okay, overall structure. Okay, first will come a Google's logo. Then will come a search bar. At the end will be multiple other links. That's what a basic structure is, HTML. Does that make sense? Hopefully that was understanding. There's a human one too, I saw. I don't know if you want to see it, but this is how it looks. So basically HTML is your skeleton, right? CSS is your skin. JavaScript is your brain, behavior, muscle, right? All those type of the behavior things. How you look, right? Your face, the skin, the color of your skin. I'm not really saying, I'm just saying color of your skin, beard, hairs, all those type of features are CSS. Why it's important to know these things? Because a hack can be done with any one of these things. There is HTML injection. There is CSS injection, right? There is HTML injection. There is CSS injection. And interestingly, CSS injection also has with the payment system. There was, I think, I forgot the name of the protocol, PDI or something like that. System PDI CSS. No, I don't remember. PCI DSS. I think it had this some kind of an injection issue. But yeah, basically with CSS also you can have injection and you can hack a website. Right? Color can be, for answer could be, let's say you put a color on the house, but the color was toxic. Your house is your website. The color was toxic. Somebody else put some poisonous gas in it. Done. That's how the game works in this world. Hackers will find a way to hack. You just don't know how. And that's how you have to think where it could be. Hypertext markup language. It's not a programming language. I cannot stress this enough. Do not tell me it's a programming language. I will ban you. I have seen so many people say it's a programming language. It's not a programming language. It's a markup language. How things look. Markup is the language websites are written in. Elements, also known as tags, don't need to worry about it, are the building blocks of HTML pages and tells the browser how to display content. Right? The code snippet below shows a simple HTML document, the structure of which is the same as every website. And if you are, let's say, going into, let's go, okay, I'll make a very quick idea of how easy it is to create a HTML. If you are new to coding, you have not done much, open your VS Code, and I think you can type HTML5. No, not this guy. Is it here? HTML5. No, it's not here. But I think there is a code, a simple, very simple code. So just to get you started, VS Code HTML shortcut, template shortcut. This, no, holy, I don't know. Do you guys remember this HTML shortcut we had for a very simple shortcut? There is doc type, Shift 1, they have changed it. I don't know, in my time it was like I think HTML or something like this, HTML5. Oh, I think I have to download the plugin. Okay, never mind. But yeah, basically if you go to VS Code and if you type, it will be like comes at HTML/HTML and basically, oh, here it is. HTML5. Here is your basic HTML document, which legit is named document, and you can see quickly when you save it and blah blah blah. So if you don't know about HTML, do use VS Code and easily able to see what you want to create, and use AI for it. Now the code snippet below shows a simple HTML document, the structure of which is same as every other website. So like we see here, the title of the page is the one you don't see at the top, you see at here, right? You see here Twitch, you see this is the title. Here you see TryHackMe, how the websites work. That's the title. The body is what you actually see below your URL. Example heading and example paragraph. And I can show you actually with this. If you go here, right, you see the head. Where is the title in this? Holy, it's a big one. Title, how the websites work. So let's say if I change it to what's up. You see the change of the title here? You can do it in your browser, play around, right? It's changed to WhatsApp. So that's how things are. And HTML body is what you actually see when you go to any website. The HTML structure as shown in the screenshot has the following component. Doc type HTML basically tells which version of HTML, which is HTML5. This is the first one, and this is one of those elements that you don't close because it's kind of not considered as an element. But you don't have to close this one. The rest all you have to close almost. Defines that the page is a HTML5 document. This helps with the standardization across different browsers. Tell the browser to use HTML5, version 5 of this. Then comes the HTML itself, right? The HTML tag, this is like the file itself, telling, hey, it's a HTML document. In the root is the root element of the HTML, of all HTML, and everything comes between this. Head is basically, this is what you don't see, but this contains information like your script, the CSS, which script you are using, CSS you will be using, the title of the page, and all those yada yada stuff. Body is the one you see. Defines, this is like what we were talking about, the stud, the pallets, the wood, the concrete, the bricks of your house, the cement, sorry, not even concrete. Who does concrete? Cement. And then only content inside of the body is shown in this browser. This body is what you see. HTML is just a large heading. Paragraph is -p is for paragraph. There are total 6 headings. Go to W3 schools if you want to learn HTML. There are a lot more, right, like button and all those images, and that's what HTML provides. It tells, okay, which side, where the button goes, where the video goes, and blah blah blah. Tags can contain attributes such as the class attributes, which can be used to style an element. Make the tag a different color. So using class attribute, you can tell, okay, you want it of blue color, red color, whatever. Or the source attribute, which is used on pages to specify the location of the image. Where is on the whole world or in your computer, where or in your source code, where is that image? An element can have multiple attributes with each with its own unique purpose. So basically there can be class attribute. There are different attributes, basically properties of a tag. Every single property is different, right? For example, as a human, if there was a human tag, color, hair color, how many hairs would be? The guy's bald, hardly any hairs, a lot of hairs, right? Those type. How many hands or legs, eyes, what color of the eyes, stuff like that. Same thing with the image, how big the image, what is the source of the image, and if image is not visible, what it should come, and blah blah blah. So elements can also have an ID attribute, like example, which is a unique. This is like unique across your whole page, that specific page. Unlike the class attribute where multiple elements can use the same class, right? Multiple elements can have blue color. One element can have its own one name. It's like, you know, when you go to a university or a school or a company, you are or even a bank account, right? You have one particular, that's a unique number. ID is the same thing with your HTML document. It's a unique on one page. Different IDs to identify different elements, right? Just like different account numbers to define which client. Elements IDs used for styling and to identify it in JavaScript. So if I want, like, okay, I give a ID cat image to this image tag, right? Or a human, I give censored hacker, my name, right? And then I can give a specific characteristic to that person, like a handsome guy, funny guy, or an idiot, who knows, whatever. And I can give that extra behavior to it. You can view HTML document of any website by right clicking, view source or view page source. So here we go, view page source. I can see the whole document, looks very ugly. So instead of this, I will go on inspect and see, much better. And you see, like, it's a tree almost, right? Body and head are at the same level. HTML is at top and doc type HTML. Let's play with some HTML. First, click on the view site button inside this task. On the right hand side, you should see a box that renders HTML. Okay, let's do that first. Render HTML, right? Okay, we see that. If you enter some HTML into the box, click the green render HTML button. It will render your HTML. On the page, you could see an image of some cat. So let's see, render HTML. I clicked. What I see one image and second image is not coming, right? This is one of the attributes not given. Add a dog image. But you see the issue here. First one has JPG. What is the image type, right? Like we have text file, a movie, a video, MP3. Images also have a PNG and stuff. So first thing we'll do is JPG. Probably that's one of the things. One of the images on the cat website is broken. Fix it. The image will reveal the hidden text answer. So we do it, then we render it. One sec. But yeah, we did it, and let's see, JPG, render it. Now you see HTML hero. One sec. Apologies. That's the meeting. It was supposed to start at 8:30. I'm running late. So add a dog image to the page by adding another image tag, right? So we here add another image tag. First add the tag and close it. Important thing is to close the tag, because if you don't close it, oh, sorry, that's the message. Amazing how much content length shows you about an application when your instance you test. Yeah. 100% Barry. It's crazy, right? Like a SQL injection. You know SQL injection, one funny thing about SQL injection, I love SQL injection just because the first SQL injection article or the hack came in 1998, which is also my year of born, but it's a couple months older than me. And so much SQL injection. I'll send a link to everyone here. So much you can do with SQL injection, but 100% bro, 100% Philip. 100%. I just said 100 Philip. My bad, buddy. But yeah, so, and we have to type the image location. But it's so crazy. SQL injection is the craziest thing I would love and first thing probably if I would love to master. It's such a good one. But yeah, as we were saying, source is where the image is located. We just type img just like any other. And you might be looking what IMG is. It's inside the browser itself in this area. This is local to a software, code. What is the text on the document? So let's render this. Dog HTML. And should work. Awesome. So I have to leave, but before leaving, right, I want to share something very interesting. SQL injection practice. Where is that? There is one port swinger, TryHackMe, of course. There was a very beautiful website. Let me see. I think it's on my phone. I check. I do a lot of crazy things on my phone. Hacks planning. A beautiful website for anyone who wants to practice a particular type of hack or anything. For example, SQL injection. Understanding is a CTF way free website. So if anybody is interested, here you go, lads. Philip, hopefully this is helpful if you like it, right? Hopefully. And yeah, thank you so much for Scarface and Philip for messaging, right? Really appreciate all the messages. And sorry lads, have to go today early, but tomorrow, as I mentioned, what we'll cover, first we'll complete this HTML JavaScript one. JavaScript is my bread and butter, so I will cover that very good. And after that, putting it all together shouldn't take much, not a lot of time. A great room, but it shouldn't be a lot of time consuming because this is a recap of what we have done. Then after that is the big one. Then after that is the big one, boys and girls. I'll show you. Where is it? PreSecurity, right? After this is Linux. Big guy. I love Linux so much, and we will cover tomorrow itself. Let's see how many are there. Task 1, introduction, bit of background, interacting, right? Searching for files and stuff. We will make notes, important notes while we go through this, but this one we will start tomorrow. Do not miss this. And we will cover so much. We will probably cover the whole one tomorrow, fundamentals 1 and 2 as well, given the time and given if you guys have questions and much. But yeah, we will start covering so that this is actually very practical, very useful when you actually start with the TryHackMe or any CTF challenges. So with that being said, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for the messages, especially Scarface, Philip, right? And if you have any question, feel free to ask me in Discord. You hope you have a great day, right? Again, as I mentioned, RIP to all the lives lost during the plane crash today. If you can, do donate for those who lost their lives to their families. With that being said, I am Censored Hacker, praying for everyone. Rest in peace to the lost souls, and you have a great day. Have a relaxing day. And like usual, I'd like to say bye. Have a good one, lads. See ya.